chiedo vale la pena di restare qui abbracciati mentre il giorno non c'è più e la luna da lassù fa da specchio ai nostri baci. Se ti guardo dentro agli occhi mentre già mi batte il cuore e ti dico che per me stare insieme qui con te ha il sapore dell'amore.
It's acting, it's drama, it's gymnastics, it's acrobatics, it's strength.
Just want to see action, athleticism, agility, strength, stamina, sport, just everything that wrestling is all about.
When you're there and the people are battling right in front of you and you see the mists of sweat, you see the spit, maybe you get dripped on, you can't emulate that from home.
You feel as if there's just a tangible electricity in the air and you don't know what's going to happen next. My name is Jackson Kelly and I'm a professional wrestler, better known as the Beach Bum Booter. I have a right boot which is severely much more powerful than my left.
Respect the ref! Respect the boot, idiot!
I'm not going to speak too much on what's inside it, but I will say my opponents, when they feel the boot, they know that they've been hit by the boot. And then I'll charge straight back at them. Give them that right boot, straight up the arse. I'll never forget when we first got pay TV and I was watching this huge hulking man in knee pads, elbow pads, long hair and a beard, and he was beating down on this overweight, non-athletic guy in glasses. And then, as it happens in wrestling, camera cuts to the back and this hulking man, and he's charging down to the ring to save Jim Ross from this atrocities. I was hooked from that moment on, and I needed to find out what happened next week, and I needed to find out what happened the week after that. I kept having these thoughts like, wrestling's the next thing, wrestling's the next thing.
What? Wrestling? What? Is that actually a real sport that you actually do in Australia?
So I saved up the money and travelled to America to start training. We were worked to the bone. We were worked like dogs. A lot of hitting that mat. And that mat is no joke. If you're not trained correctly, then it will severely injure you.
The first time I watched Jackson in the ring, they come actually off the ring into the audience and someone threw Jackson in the air. I went, oh my God, splat. And that's when I was worried a little bit.
In a sick sort of way, I sort of enjoy the physical punishment.
Another huge chop. Why the mask?
Down the guts. You're with the rapscallion Mick Moretti, pro wrestling superstar, and one of the head coaches right here at the Pro Wrestling Academy. Switch! Switch! I have apparently a reputation for having savage cardio. Squat! Hey! Squat! Hey! At the end of the day, you've got someone else's life in your hands. If you're exhausted and you don't have what it takes to hold someone up safely, then someone's going to get hurt. So you've got to learn how to do a break fall, how to land safely, how to roll. From there you move into strikes, into bigger impact moves, into using it all. Then you start learning about psychology and how to build a match, because we want to tell a story. We want to take people on a ride. You can swear at them, you can say whatever, but that's the moment where you've had enough. Fuck you. Boom.
My mum is a strict Filipino lady who prays daily, and my dad is a 6-year-old something man who goes by the book and makes sure my little girl doesn't get hurt. So when I heard there was a tryout, I was just like, I can't tell my parents at all about this.
Quando ti guardo io non resisto ai tuoi occhi così blu. Tu non mi guardi, io non resisto e continuo a cadere giù. Tu non mi guardi, io non resisto e continuo a cadere giù. Quando ti guardo quasi sparisco dentro a quegli occhioni blu.
How did they take it? Not well. I don't think my dad spoke to me for a while. My mum freaked out. She goes, what if you die? I'm like, well, I'll die. You know, at least I'll die being happy. I've always tried to find myself over the years. I'm just like, I feel like I'm missing something, and I just didn't know what it was.
It's always been just this platform for me to just unleash. Getting the opportunity to do that is liberating, it's freeing, it's exciting. It's just like this rush of adrenaline that's just, so good.
In training, Tara's always a bit, oh God, I don't know if I can do this. But when the bell rings, Kingsley just goes, I'm a bad bitch and I'm gonna kill everybody. It's just so empowering.
Anything else? That's class. Hoorah!
I had been doing wrestling for about a year and a half. At one stage, I essentially ran myself into the ground.
Yeah, we got a phone call about 2 o'clock in the morning from Jackson telling us that he was in the ambulance, so that was a bit scary.
I was diagnosed with pericarditis. It is inflammation of the lining around the heart. You can't exercise, you can't do physical activity, you can't exert yourself more than a resting heart rate.
He was so sporty and athletic, it was hard for him not to be able to do the things he was used to.
So I had no timeline, I had no idea if I was going to get better. So that was the hardest part, just not knowing.
You know, in the early days of my wrestling career, there wasn't a lot of people at the shows, you know. I've had shows where I've wrestled in front of about 5 or 6 people. We've had shows at basketball courts where the ring's been set up over here and there's been a game of basketball or a game of soccer going on over here while we're trying to put the show on.
As we get into 2019 and now into 2020, some venues are seeing upwards of, getting closer to 4 figures of fan attendance.
I can hear a bit of a murmur out there and that's always a good sign.
I really want to see my leader, Jackson Kelly. I'm known everywhere as that band member.
Everybody loves sinking piss.
I love all the flipping and the chops, it's amazing.
It's good to bring kids along as well.
When I walk through those doors, I want to give them a show. Probably took about 6 months in total for me to be cleared. Not long after that was a hometown show of mine. I hadn't wrestled in about 6-7 months and hadn't been in front of a crowd, hadn't had an excuse to elevate my heart rate. So yeah, it was, I don't want to say do or die, maybe, but I was behind the curtain and just, I hope I'm good. I hit my mark over there, I got them going, ran to the other side of the crowd and got them going. And I just tried to soak it up as much as I possibly could.
There's something infectious about wrestling. Different personalities mixed with being punched in the face.
Sometimes life isn't great, sometimes it sucks, sometimes we go through times where we're a bit down. I think wrestling just provides an alternative to that. It says, hey, forget all that for a minute, come here, be happy, sit with the people that you enjoy the company of, watch the people who you enjoy to watch, and just have the best time ever.
It is the combination of my 2 biggest passions, sport and storytelling. And when you put them together, then that's a recipe for magic, really.
Hey, if you enjoyed that, make sure you subscribe to The Feed's YouTube channel.
And you can watch these videos here. See you next time.